Hey guys, today we're doing a little division talk. I have a few tips on how to make your leveling experience as easy as possible, along with some other general tips for first starting out in the division, so let's get to it. The level cap in the division is level 30. It took me about a day of playtime, so around 24 hours to hit level 30. Expect to devote around that amount of time to level up to the max. There are three types of missions in the game. There are story missions, which are pretty long and award a lot of credits, base of operations points, experience, and gear. Then you have side missions, which give a good chunk of experience, and then you have the tech, security, and medical encounters, which give a small amount of experience, but give points towards your base of operations depending on the type of encounter. Therefore, your priority for leveling up should be story missions, then side missions, then encounters. It is very wise to completely clear an area before moving on to the next though, but if you wanted to power level yourself, prioritize story missions. You get a nice chunk of experience for completing these smaller missions in an area via the safe house though. It's definitely something to consider. Plus, you'll probably want to be leveling your base of operations. However, one thing you should not bother with is doing the missions on hard mode. Doing the missions on hard mode does not award any additional experience from completing the mission. Only the enemies within the mission will award extra experience, and enemies on a per kill basis award very little experience to begin with. The gear or weapon reward at the end of the mission is improved, but it's not really worth it if you're trying to get to level 30 as soon as possible. Not to mention that hard mode missions done solo are pretty difficult. You'll have a much better time sticking to normal mode. Do not worry about the hard mode for now with regards to leveling. When you reach your base of operations, a few areas are going to open up. The first story mission you should do is the security mission Lincoln Tunnel Checkpoint. The reason is because the first security wing upgrade, the Situation Room, gives the perk Experienced Agent. This perk increases your experience gained by 10% from all activities. Obviously, getting this very early on is going to be a huge benefit to you and the leveling process, so if you don't have this already, you should buy it immediately. You should continue to stockpile security points to spend on the armory, which you need to access the barracks. The barracks give the perk Combat Veteran, which increases experience gained from accolades by 25%. Accolades are the medals awarded after combat sequences, so things like headshots. While accolades aren't hugely rewarding, anything helps. As for any other perks you should get early on, anything that involves getting free weapon parts, tools, electronics, and/or fabric should be prioritized. The sooner you can start gathering materials, the better. Crafting your own gear is a good way to improve a weak item slot. If you don't feel like crafting, then those green quality materials can be upgraded into blue quality materials at a rate of 5-to-1. Plus, it never hurts to get some free stuff. This is something you should also try to look out for while wandering the map. While you'll likely end up with tons and tons of fabric, you won't see as much of the other stuff. Tools, weapon parts, and the like that are in the wild are marked on your map and respawn every so often. If you're waiting around for a friend or thinking about logging off for the day, hit up a couple of nodes to get your stockpile going. As for a general leveling build, a solid, reliable build will be First Aid and the turret. This works for solo play very well. First Aid gives you a nice heal if you don't want to burn through medkits, and the turret provides a great distraction for the enemy. If the enemy doesn't deal with the turret itself will deal a lot of damage back to them. First Aid can be upgraded to heal much more effectively, restoring essentially your entire life bar assuming you have balanced stats, and the turret has a nice spread of upgrades available depending on the environment that you're in. Tight spaces call for the Dragon Breath mod, and open areas call for the Active Sensor mod. Upgrade First Aid via the Intensive Care upgrade, and the turret via Water Purification. As for talents, I think one of the best talents in the game is Steady Hands, which is unlocked in the security tree as the Procurement Team upgrade for 200 points. It provides 25% reduced recoil for 10 seconds after entering cover. I imagine a lot of people are still getting used to shooting accurately in the division, especially if you're a Destiny player. This perk allows you to operate a weapon almost recoil-free. It is really good and lasts a long time. You can't refresh the buff if it's already active on you, but all it takes to turn it back on is to tap off and then back onto cover, which is really easy. You don't even need to be in cover actively for it to work. You can enter cover, then leave, and the buff will still be on you. definitely work on getting this perk quickly. I would get it before you get the armory and the barracks, since it's really cheap and will probably be more valuable than the 25% increased XP from accolades. Players in groups can be a little more versatile in their selection of perks and skills. Generally, having full coverage of skills is a good thing. Everyone having one of the different specialty skills, one person with a heal, another person with something like smart cover to provide buffs. You can end up doing whatever you want, of course, but a well-balanced team is always nice to have. That is going to do it for me and my first attempt at a Division video. We'll be going over my thoughts on the Division, what the endgame is like, and maybe some high-level endgame PvE gameplay in the near future. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.